will be Leona. So it won't be the fasting Senna. We're just going to be doing as much damage as possible, and there's just more engage options and maybe a little bit more reliable engage. With the Leona, Shield of Daybreak, who are her opponents, and it's funny, like picking Leona into Thresh, which is like the classic counter to the Zenith Blade with the Flay.
Yeah.
It's an odd choice, but just showing that DAMWON aren't really picking this for lane. They just want those solar flares for the team fight, and they can set up some pretty amazing Emperor's Divides with Nuguri just slicing and dicing around, chomping people up.
And this is a DAMWON gaming composition nowadays, because this is something that if you get ahead, you can end the game in like 23 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like Renekton Nidalee is the new Renekton Elise. And that's definitely, you highlighted it there. That duo is definitely part of the reason why Renekton stonks have gone up a lot as well. And they can just get such an early lead with that comp. But we're first going to take a look here at Team Dynamics' comp. You can see that their ability to just shave one person away from the 5 and just chomp down on them and make it a 5v4 real quick is going to be quite good. Obviously, I think Ninja Tabi will be nice, but at the same time, you're dealing with Zoe and Thresh, so perhaps not. Probably we'll see a mix of boots on their side, as this is the very scary DAMWON composition.
Yep, they will have mid-priority here for DAMWON. Azir will be able to shove the Zoe in early, but it's likely that that will be alleviated once mid-game comes around, which is, of course, where Zoe does absolutely thrive. Looking at the Dynamics comp, though, as we hop into game number 1, I'd like to dub this the, Vision Hacks comp. We could call it, the Black Sheep Wall, because they've got Tremor Sense, they've got Portal Jump from Zoe, which gives you a lot of added vision over walls, everything like that, and they've got Hawkshot. They barely need wards. It's insane.
Yeah.
And if they're able to use Hawkshots effectively and keep Rich safe, then this Lucian will almost always know that Canyon's not around him and he can keep putting on pressure. And that's exactly what top lane Lucian needs to do. And remember, guys, this is Rich's pick. He was Lucian Aatrox 2-trick in Challenger. This had to be banned by every single team. They banned these away because he was just too good. And we saw what Smeb could do on it. We saw what Canna could do on it. The top lane Lucian does have a lot of potential, but it's a huge coin flip. And Dynamics need to try and get the Lucian ahead in any way possible.
Yeah. And speaking of Rich's Lucian, just a fun stat. He has 12 unique champions played. He only has win rates on 2 of them. Lucian is one of them. The other one is Volibear. So
yeah.
He's 2-1 so far on the Lucian. We'll see if he can potentially stack up another win as DAMWON Gaming.
No.
They never stop with the aggression, Atlas.
Yep, they're going to move in. They're going to find Beyond, who immediately flashes, and he'll lose his red buff. This is utter disaster for the early game of Dynamics, and really smart from DAMWON.
I thought Canyon was going to go across for a second. I'm like, this guy is actually insane.
Well, it is going to sacrifice lane just a little. You saw that Ghost and BeryL lost out on a bit of experience. But winning this jungle matchup is absolutely huge for everything that we spoke about before about the Lucian. I think the top lane is going to be very, very important for how this game is going to go. Because if the Renekton gets too big, Dynamics are all squishy. The Crocodile gets near anyone, he just eats them.
Oh, look at the pathing here from Canyon. He is going straight for his other red, but Beyond is coming in here at the same time. He's not at full health.
And Tremor Sense hasn't actually been activated yet, unless Canyon was just out of range.
I think now?
No, he doesn't have the skill.
Wow.
He doesn't have the skill.
Right.
So he actually can't utilize it as Canyon's going to land the spear.
He has no flash, remember.
Yep. Hounds comes forward. That's a really good interrupt, but ShowMaker's here. Doesn't have Shifting Sands yet, remember, guys, but Beyond is just going to get pounced on by Canyon. It's just a matter of time. Red buff's there. Smite comes in. Canyon's going to land a spear onto the blue buff. As there it is, first blood, as we expected, and the Tentacle Monster comes out. Vel'Koz represent.
He's already leashing the blue as he's chasing down Beyond for the kill.
It's like Beyond was a Gromp, and he was doing the double leash.
He's just farming both of them at the same time. Just Canyon things as... Oh, man. Beyond goes for the risky play, and he gets caught out there. And you can see he was very tentative about getting in, as the hook is going to get flashed.
Yeah, Ghost is going to do a bit of damage to deokdam, but as you can see, the Ashe very strong. at this stage of the game. Beyond now, still level 2. He's taken 1 camp. And now it looks like this Rift Scuttler might be helping him get back just a little bit. Great reaction there from Rich to relentlessly pursue backwards. I know that's the wrong way of saying it, but that's a proper noun.
He's pursuing his safety.
He's pursuing the reverse direction.
Yes.
Pursuing the wall. His
like
own
this.
turret. Yeah, holding the minion wave.
And then he just decides, actually, never mind.
It is going to make sure that the wave is on his side, but he'll be able to build it up. And I guess maybe if Beyond's going to look for a gank or a dive, stacking the wave will be a good idea. Let's see whether that is what Rich is going for here, because that will eventually push back to Nuguri.
You can see here some of the stats for the Team Dynamics picks. Obviously, Kuzan has played a lot of Zoe himself, as here's the gank.
Yep, Beyond's going to come in. BeryL does have Eclipse as he's looking for the stun onto deokdam. That's a great step back, though. GuGer did use his flash, but that's a very easy kill. DAMWON suffer one on the bottom side. They are still ahead in gold, but anything to get this Rek'Sai to some point where she's relevant is important, because at the moment, struggling a whole lot.
Yeah.
4-0 for Canyon, 2-0 for Nuguri. ShowMaker's first Azir game. That's crazy.
He sees Keria and he's like, well, I want to have a lot of unique champions myself. let me play Azir here. Azir, obviously, quite good into the Zoe with the portal jump back to handle that, and Emperor's Divider. As this was just a really nice setup gank. I think that DAMWON didn't really have the lane in position to get vision down. So with no flash on Leona, you're just a sitting duck. Even if you are a little bit tanky, you're still not going to have a fun time if it is 3-on-2 and you have no vision. And Rek'Sai has that unique ability to go over the wall.
Yep, as flash immediately from Rich. Not wasting any time, but that is still a successful gank. This is exactly what we're talking about. Canyon had to be there, at least at some point before level 6. And he made it level 5. But Beyond, looking for potential gank himself. Nuguri moving out of the way, and level 6 is very important to try and stave off ganks. He's not there just yet. There's the Zenith Blade. GuGer actually getting taken down very low. Hook comes back. Max range onto the Leona, but Piercing Darkness is going to be there. And Ghost will be able to just go into the Shroud, and he'll be absolutely fine. As deokdam and GuGer are actually having a really good time here in this lane. We've been very critical of deokdam, especially. Good to see that he's performing decently, at least so far.
Kuzan is pretty aggressive in this lane. He's got Beyond's nearby, as looks like we're all grouping up for a potential dragon take here, but Canyon and BeryL want to try to shut it down. They're not going to be able to, as the Scuttle Crab is taken away. And Canyon looking for something to do. Not quite going to get on top of Kuzan as he's spotted on the ward. The top lane seemingly very even. You see it's pushing into Rich, but he's behind just a bit on CS, so very, very even in terms of the CS numbers up in the top side. And again, that's what Renekton can do. That's part of the reason why we see him more often. As here we go.
Yeah, that's the all-in from Nuguri. He's doing a lot of damage here to Rich. The culling comes out. Nuguri's going to back away. So R buttons traded for R buttons. But remember, Nuguri has flash. And he is definitely eradicating this lane of any Lucians. He's going to look for that back. And as soon as Nuguri gets the Ninja Tabi, that's when it's sort of time for him to start going in and going aggressive. But this is a disaster. No teleport on Rich. And he's now trying to make his way back with just a longsword. He did not want to be backing then. And it just shows, like, you just need to have some sort of advantage, get to around level 6 or 7, and then these all-ins from the Renekton can work for a few levels at least. It's just the danger of this top lane Lucian that just requires you to keep the pressure on so much. It's almost like both of them are pretty similar situations. Although I feel like the coin flip is a little bit larger for a Lucian.
Looking to potentially get the flash away from Kuzan, but GuGer is there. Rift Herald just spawned, so that's why GuGer and BeryL have rotated up to the top side of the map here. I think with the jungle control that DAMWON have right now, Dynamics might just want to give away this objective, but we see that they're all grouping up here. Beyond's not even level 6. So I'm not really sure if Team Dynamics can force a fight here and win it, as Canyon very confidently just going to start up this objective.
Yeah. Rich is going to make it down to the river, so theoretically there is a little bit of lane priority there, but Nuguri, he went back. Ninja Tabi done, as well as the Vampiric Scepter. And he's also pressed the attack Renekton. We've seen a few of the Conqueror varieties, but he just wants to do as much damage as possible. His bubble's not going to land onto BeryL. Very skinny is Leona, apparently. And that is free Rift Herald going over to DAMWON. And I think that all stems from the level 1. Canyon being able to find that advantage, being so much stronger. Nuguri getting chunked a little bit here, but has Dominus available yet again. Still no flash for Rich.
Nuguri missed 2 CS in a row. He's only looking for the trade.
Yep, there's the slice and dice. Piercing Light comes in. That is going to be the full culling, but avoided. And Nuguri grabs the solo kill. That's what happens when you have flash and your opponent doesn't. Renekton is going to reign supreme here. Now 20 CS in the lead. He'll crash it into the turret and grab some plates as ShowMaker shifts the sands, and he'll be absolutely fine. And Rich's famous Lucian not really working out so far this game.
Yeah, he was set pretty far behind after losing the trade just before, and with no flash, as you mentioned, he is not going to be able to get away from that Renekton. So you just got to play safer in that moment. But as Lucian, that's kind of the last thing you want to do. You want to have
You're not allowed to, right? Yeah.
But it's like, it's a lose-lose, right? It's like either you die like this. Nuguri says, I got him.
나 풀 빠지고 잡았어.
I used my flash. As, wow, down in the bottom lane, Ghost is dead.
He is. He didn't use his flash, as now we're looking for Rich yet again. Yep, Spear is going to connect because it's free. And yeah, the Mika really being culled up here.
You see the sad bee?
Yeah. Sad bee is the saddest, man.
It makes me feel bad when I kill people and they throw out the sad bee. It just feels like bullying in that case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it's feeling like up towards the top lane. The Crocodile and the Kitty Cat. Really putting that pressure on. And this snowball is really starting to become a problem. There's a Drake that's going to be taken as an answer, but giving all of that money early to the Renekton means that his relevance is going to stick around for so much longer. Not going to be a lot of opportunity for Rich to try and exert his pressure, as his Blade of the Ruin King is on the way, but he has no boots. The Ninja Tabi that Nuguri put together early, definitely doing work.
Yeah, I think he's one of the players that should pick up the Ninja Tabi, as he's going up against the Lucian. We'll see how many others do get it. We already have Leona picking it up, but notice that the Merc Drents up against the Zoe lane.
Yep.
Is there for ShowMaker.
Also having it against Ashe is a good idea as well, so you can certainly understand that.
And Thresh, and all the other stuff they have there. As I'm going to take another look here at the bottom side play, as they know GuGer's in the brush, but they're still standing nearby, and they just get hooked. It's the cleanest, most straightforward Thresh kill that you've ever seen.
And we've gone from one very understandable kill on the bottom side to another one up towards the top lane, as the sad bee comes out again, and we're sad all over again.
Yeah, Diana's really trying to force this mid gank onto ShowMaker. He knows what happens if you leave ShowMaker alone. Probably a pentakill sometime in the mid game at about 21 minutes, and then the game ends. So he's trying, but he's not finding much luck. As ShowMaker also has his flash still, so that gank is just not really going to work.
These are looking like some gold numbers from old DAMWON before Ghost joined the roster. Is GuGer going to get slowed? There's the flash forward from BeryL. They're going to land a spear, but the Zenith Blade came down because, of course, he held on to it. GuGer goes golden, and now in goes Beyond, but he's mega squishy. Canyon not going to be taken. Oh. And deokdam, he does eventually find the kill under the Nidalee, but Ghost now trying to trade back, and ShowMaker slides on in and collects the Ashe for himself. Now, Kuzan here trying to tidy up. I don't think he's going to be able to. BeryL was lit on fire with a counterfeit ignite, but that's going to be about it for Kuzan.
Yeah, nice start there from DAMWON. It was a 3-on-2 to start. Kuzan's got to be careful. He does have that W flash, so he's kind of recklessly portal jumping forward, but still Emperor's Divide and Flash available on ShowMaker. So he's just going to sit back, wait, and farm under the turret. as GuGer had flash and stopwatch, and they were still going for that play onto the Thresh, which I thought was kind of interesting, but they didn't want to have him save the Ashe. Here we go again.
Oh my god, Nuguri damage! And Beyond, what are you doing here? You can't fight this huge crocodile. He's level 11. He's 4 levels ahead of the jungler.
It's Godzilla.
It's so ShowMaker. Yeah, he's absolutely Godzilla. This is, now it's so funny because Smeb seems to have found success on both of these picks, the Lucian and the Renekton, in recent times. But it is definitely his example of Renekton play as GuGer. He's going to come in. They're going to force Canyon out, but Canyon did manage to grab the Krug as deokdam gets chunked about half by 1 spear. Rod of Ages completed at 12 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
13
Canyon,
maybe for Canyon.
Canyon doesn't go for the, you know, Unholy Grail or anything like that. He goes straight for the scaling the damage, stacking fun as, wow, that was a nice bubble. He somehow knew that ShowMaker was backing in that brush and was able to keep him here. As here's another replay. You see that Canyon is on vision. So GuGer, I think, probably shouldn't be up that far, but he knows he has flash and stopwatch with Beyond coming, so he's like, maybe we can turn this around. And Canyon gets extremely low. Notice how he survives here. The quick heal into the swipe. Eventually does go down, turns into a 1v1, or a 1-for-1 rather, as deokdam is kind of left out to dry. Not much that GuGer can do as he was so low. This is Rich just kind of face checking, getting burst 100-0 by Godzilla.
Yeah. This is like, I don't even know which version of Godzilla this is, like the scariest one. Not the one in the most recent one, because Godzilla seemed like a good guy in that movie. It was
Yeah,
one of
that's weird.
It was one of like the 90s Godzilla where he was just 100% evil monster of doom. Yeah, he's Nuguri's massive. Level 12, highest level in the game. He's ahead of Rich by 2 levels.
Yeah.
And he's keeping up all of this pressure. Probably holding onto a lot of gold as well as Kuzan. He's going to get out of there.
Yeah, used his own heal, it looks like, as Shirley going to be dropped down here in the mid lane. And they're just, they're kind of bullying Kuzan out of this one, as Beyond is so far behind that he can't do anything. He's 3 levels behind Canyon right now. I mean, he's just non-existent after the way that the early game played itself out.
Yep.
Where at level 1, he got his buff stolen, and then he tried to invade without flash and got killed. So it's kind of a 5v4 at this point in time. Very unfortunate for Beyond, because Canyon has, GuGer didn't even realize that that wasn't his turret.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, let me just push up. But that was the sand or the sun turret.
The sun disc, as it were. It is going to be taken down there by the Thresh as the arrow is going to connect onto Ghost. Teleport comes in from Dynamics. Double teleport immediately to follow up as Ghost will probably not. He's not going to die. They're going to back away too early. And ShowMaker and Nuguri come in to save. Their little AD carry here towards the bottom side. Okay, he goes the Zenith Blade. Solar Flare landing there as well as the Zoe's going to be the first one taken down. Beyond has about 2.5 health as he's going to get the heck out of there. ShowMaker still has Emperor's Divide, but not a lot of health bar. And Nuguri as well. He's got a massive bounty. Rich looks for it, but the volley is going to ring true. Rich grabs a kill off the back, and Dynamics are turning it all on its head. Canyon can't find the spear, and it was just a little bit too much there for DAMWON.
You know, deokdam, we don't talk about him too often here on this Team Dynamics team, but he gets a winning bot lane for the first time in a while, and he was able to carry really hard in that last fight. As DAMWON, they don't want to give this one up. It is a 3-on-4. They're thinking about going for the fight here.
Yeah, they're not done yet. Spear is going to come through, but it's not going to be able to take a Drake or anything like that. And that is going to be the second one taken here by Dynamics. 2 dragons to 0. This could be something that Dynamics can hold on to as they look for some sort of late game advantage. I mean, their team doesn't necessarily scale that well either. They've got a lot of squishies. Does help the relevance of this Renekton stay intact for a long time.
Yeah. And let's take a look here once again. The nice setup, and then 5 bajillion teleports came in. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 from each side do get used, and it kind of, you know, we wait here. Nothing much is happening, but everybody kind of knows a fight is brewing. And Then eventually, just the engage onto Kuzan. Really nice job by BeryL. They immediately take the Zoe out of the fight, and you're thinking, oh, okay, here we go. It's DAMWON again. But look at how deokdam fights against everything. Him and Rich, the two of them are just like two turrets playing tower defense against the giant monsters that are Ghost, ShowMaker, and Nuguri. And they just get kited down so well by the Frost Arrows. And you can see that BeryL and Canyon on the left, they're like desperately trying to get into the fight, but they can't quite do it, really. And they're the two supports that are supposed to, you know, heal their front line.
Yeah.
And all that stuff, but they were kind of separated there. DAMWON probably playing that one a little bit too aggressively, trying to force it. And the kiting was so effective that ShowMaker, he had his flash and his ultimate available, but he could just never find a good place to use it.
Didn't want to flash underneath the turret there as Rich. He's under his, but Solarflare's going to get a nice slow. And Canyon, he'll make it out. BeryL as well, soaking a lot of damage there with the Eclipse. And a few Primal Surges later, and Canyon will be back to terrorizing the jungle. Kuzan with some spare time here towards the top lane, and deokdam and GuGer in mid, wanting to get some work done on these turrets. But DAMWON, they're going to join this one very early and deny any sort of damage onto the turret nicely. ShowMaker splitting on the bottom side, and it feels like at this stage, that DAMWON has more players on the map than Dynamics do. And yeah, ShowMaker, not in any danger, but still decides that he wants to leave. Nuguri picks up the minion wave that was delivered to him by Kuzan. And I think he went back and built a full Black Cleaver, as he's 64 CS in the lead against the Lucian. And that, guys, is bad news for the Lucian.
Yeah, definitely. And he's going to be frontline. He's going to be slicing and dicing and swiping, all the good stuff that Renekton does. So can try to stack up a little bit for Ghost, I assume. But at the same time, it's not really Ghost that's the carry on his team. It's kind of the Nidalee and the Azir at this point that are going to be doing the heavy lifting in terms of the damage. So maybe a different item could have been considered, as we're just kind of sitting here now. We're waiting for the Infernal Drake soul that is coming in. Note that Team Dynamics got the first two Drakes in this game, even though DAMWON have been ahead for the majority of it. So they've been able to stack up a couple. This does mean that if the game goes the distance and DAMWON get 4 Infernal Drakes instead of 2, it's probably going to benefit them in the end. But we'll see how this one does play out.
Yep, for right now, those Drakes are going to be helping Dynamics just a little bit, trying to alleviate this 5,000 gold lead stat advantage. But as you can see, it's been a very sad Rek'Sai day. This game, sort of the lead that Nuguri had, all stemmed from that red buff invade at level 1. Really intelligently done by DAMWON to navigate themselves to a point where they could get the Renekton into a great spot. Last team fight, not working out here, but now they're just going to go for the raid boss, as Nuguri is spotted. DAMWON moving on over here. Canyon turns up, and they're going to continue. The rest of Dynamics moving forward. Of course, Vision not at a premium for Dynamics because they have Hawk Shots, they've got Tremor Sensors, they've got all of the different options. And so no sneaky Barons to be had here for DAMWON. Now Dynamics with the inside track on this inner turret, and only 36 seconds on the Infernal Drake. Means that maybe going for the Baron was a rough idea. Canyon going to get chunked a little bit by Kuzan, but no bubbles. Now this is going to be the fight, as DAMWON do not want to give away Salt Point to Dynamics. Too much of a coin flip.
In the fight, again, it's going to come down to Kuzan, deokdam, and Rich trying to kite. I think that Beyond, still very far behind, is going to find difficulty finding too much efficiency and effectiveness here in this fight. But let's see what he can do, as Kuzan trying to poke it down to start us off.
Yep, Lantern thrown out. Now that's going to be on cooldown, as GuGer also throwing the hook in there. Now DAMWON's turn to try and get some poke through. Paddle Stars being avoided, Bubbles not landing. That's good news here for DAMWON as they vie for position. Turret going to go down. I believe that was the inner in mid lane. As Spear also not connecting. The poke needs to happen. Both of these teams want to get poked down before a fight starts, especially Dynamics. They have 0 frontline. They're not going to be able to play front to back too easily. They need to have health advantages. As Nuguri's found Rich. Oh no! And he throws out the culling, as it is going to be secured by DAMWON, the Dragon. But Nuguri eventually gets on top of Rich. I don't know what his positioning was right there, but now the damage is going to be true from DAMWON. And regardless of any bubbles that are going to be landing, Kuzan is trying to get the hell out of here. Canyon trying to sprint after BeYond, who's getting hit by minions, and Canyon eventually grabs him. I believe that was a trap that, unbeknownst to BeYond, he just walked over. And DAMWON made that look so easy in comparison to the last team fight.
Absolutely. I mean, the confusing positioning out of Rich kind of got it started on the 5v4, and we already mentioned how BeYond's not doing much. There was 0 inside track for deokdam to do any damage. That fight looked entirely different to the one where deokdam was able to get 1 million damage in a row. I mean, he sees the Renekton there, but still kind of gets caught out, and he even charges forward with Nuguri having flash. He's got flash of his own, and even on vision, Rich gets caught out by that, not reacting fast enough. And then 4v5 over here, they were desperately trying to get in there and steal the Infernal Drake away, so deokdam had 0 protection.
Trap, no!
Yeah, and that last, I love the little Pengu with the hat.
Yeah, right.
Top of the morning to you.
Just dabbing.
Yeah, and also a little range minion getting some damage in, but yeah, that's kind of the way we expected these team fights to go, to be honest, and it did go the way we expected in that last one.
Ooh, very close to a steal with the volley, but ShowMaker orders the Sand Soldiers to go collect himself a red buff, and they do so effectively. We had a look there to see that BeYond was the lowest level in the game.
Yeah.
Canyon's 4 levels ahead of him, now maybe 5, as the arrow is going to glide gracefully by.
It's 5.
Another one added to the ether of Runeterra. As we've just got too much pressure here. The Baron was the prize for DAMWON, of course, after that team fight. And I think everyone was expecting a game that was going to end similarly to this. But it was still just really intelligently done by DAMWON. I want to commend them in how they set up this sort of advantage, despite losing a couple of team fights here and there. All of the homework had been done, right? Like, it's just clean strategic League of Legends, as well as just being extraordinarily talented. As Kuzan, going to find a bit of damage there onto BeryL, but Primal Surge available to Canyon, as is the Piercing Darkness. They have a lot of sustain, actually, in this comp. And it's feeling like this snowball is about to hit the base of the mountain. Valdez?
Mm-hmm. The Avalanche is coming in.
Yeah.
It's going to crash very soon. And they've still got 50 seconds on their Baron buff, but it seems like they're taking their time with this one, just waiting for the waves to push in. You can see that Rich is off in the bottom lane, kind of just pushing and farming by himself, but he's got to get back here eventually to help deal with the push.
Yep, he is going to crash that wave, so at least DAMWON aren't... Oh, no. Okay, not going to find the Dawning Shadow, so deokdam will survive for the minute, but it does mean that this inhibitor will go down. Where pressure is given somewhere, it is given up elsewhere. And it was the top lane that did fall. Good hook lands there from GuGer, but no follow-up. Just not going to be able to. Nuguri sitting there at full health, 3,000 hit points. BeYond gets a chunk. In goes BeryL. Solar Play goes completely wide, though, as BeYond just cannot stand in amongst this fight. BeryL is punished for that poor positioning as Canyon goes golden, goes trying to keep ShowMaker alive as Canyon eventually gets out of there, and now Nuguri, the raid boss, trying to stand tall. Emperor's Divide lands only onto Kuzan, as ShowMaker's had a bit of an off game so far, but still just standing true in the front line, as that's the snare. GuGer will be falling here as Ghost is going to finish him off. And despite finding a few options in the middle of the fight, Dynamics just didn't have enough money to buy cool items to give them enough stats to win.
Yeah, they're going to push in here. The TP coming in. You see BeYond desperate to try to get the kill, but he just gets slapped down once again.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. It's just 100% bullying of the Rek'Sai, as Rich is going to fall. That's Canyon helping grab that kill as Nuguri collects it for himself. The big old Renekton doing a lot of work this game. deokdam wants to try and save his Nexus for the minute as Canyon eventually does go down. Nuguri decides that he can't get on top of the Ashe because she's too good at kiting.